Is faith a part of your creed, of the method that you use to get to the 100%?
Yeah.
How big of a part is faith in your life?
Do you want like an actual percentage, or what do you want?
That might be helpful if we were to pie chart how you got to your God belief.
Okay.
I think you were saying, let's pie chart it out. Like, how much of it is personal experience? How much of it is it prayer coming true? Because I know you said prayer was a big part of it.
Okay.
How much of it is faith?
I would say that faith is instrumental in a lot of Christianity and in a lot of those different parts. And so I don't know if you could just like pie chart it out kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because my faith also isn't a blind faith. You know, like it's based off of facts. It's based off of experiences. It's based off of stuff like that, you know? So like, even
can you define faith for me? Because I know I've heard several definitions of it.
Okay. Faith is like you're on a mountainside. I'm gonna give you a little metaphor.
That seems to be the prevailing theme of our talk today.
Oh yeah. You're on a mountainside and you're on a ledge and it's foggy down below, and you have to get down or else you're gonna freeze to death. And you could just hang on the ledge and then drop and then be like, hopefully there's something there, you know? And that's what I think most people would say is blind faith, you know? Like you're like, I believe something's there. Or
you mean like cutting your line and just dropping 1,000 meters?
I'm saying the ledge, you're hoping that there's a ledge underneath you that you're dropping onto to safety, you know?
Okay, I got you.
But then my faith is that I'm on this ledge and I can't see the other ledge, and I don't I believe that it's there, but I believe that it's there because I hear someone saying, drop down to me, like it's safe down here, there's a ledge you can drop to. And like that's what my faith is based off of. Like there's someone there, there's people that have gone through the same things I have, there's evidence in history and
is your
in
faith
experiences.
Is your faith based off of feedback that you're getting from the God? Is that what you're saying?
I would say to be saved you have to have a real experience with God, if that's what you mean by feedback.
I only use the word feedback because you were mentioning this an analogy about a voice telling you yes, it's safe to go.
I'm using that as you have information that it's there.
Okay, so like you're dangling from this rope, you're hoping that there's a precipice below that you can safely cut your rope and drop to.
That's a good word, precipice.
Right? Precipice. Is the faith dropping one of your water bottles from the height to get a sense of the distance to the precipice below? Are you saying that?
I mean,
are you saying getting feedback to
I guess
probing?
I'm saying that there's a real person there. So it's not necessarily that you have these facts, but it's that you have a real person there, you know? See, the big difference between what you may view as Christianity and what I view as Christianity is that I believe in a real person, in a real God. I don't believe in a system or a set of beliefs or a ritualistic way to go about life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so all that's based on that there's actually someone there. There's like a person that I can come to for answers, you know?
Let's go back to the hanging from the rope, because I really love, I'm a visual kind of person, so like that's awesome. And I'm dangling from this rope, and there's foggy below, right? And I know that I think that there might be a precipice down there, because when I went up, I thought maybe I saw one in this area, but I don't know for sure. And I have to drop down to it, and I'm maxed out on my rope. And if I don't drop down to it, I'm gonna freeze to death. But if I do drop down to it and survive the drop, I'll be okay. Like I won't freeze. Okay. In that situation, one thing that I might do in that situation is, like I said, drop a water bottle and get a sense of the distance, right?
Okay.
I would try to get feedback, or might I use the word sufficient evidence, to tell me that it's safe to drop, that I can trust. Okay. I can trust my perception that if I dropped, I would survive it. When I hear people define faith, it doesn't usually include an element of evidence.
Okay.
It's usually just, no, I know that if I cut the rope, I know that the precipice will be there for me. That I don't need evidence. I don't need feedback. I don't need to drop that water bottle to determine the distance to the precipice. Now that would be faith in my understanding of how Christians define it. And I don't want to force your definition. If that's different than what you're thinking,
I would say that you can have faith like that, but I'm also saying that you can have the evidence too. So I'm saying that, like, if people came to Christ through blind faith, that's great.
Okay.
But then eventually they'll be getting evidence, you know?
After the fact.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying if they just went completely blind faith, you know?
If you had evidence for the God belief, would you require faith?
Yes.
You still need faith, even though you might have evidence for the God?
Yeah. But your faith would include evidence. You know?
Faith includes evidence?
I'm saying that if you had that evidence already and you came to Christ, then your faith would include that evidence. Like, you would have the faith and the evidence, you know?
Would I still need faith? What's your definition of faith? Let's get back to that.
Definition of faith?
Have you defined it?
I did, but my definition of faith, I'd say that's hard to do without actually doing like a real situation. But I'd say, like, you have to have faith to believe in that was Jesus who appeared in front of you, you know?
What's your definition of faith, though?
What's my definition of faith? I don't know if I can give you just like a set definition.
Could I propose one, and if you don't like it, you can disagree with it?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me hear it.
I like the definition of faith as believing in something without sufficient evidence.
Okay. See, I wouldn't think that's a bad definition, but then at the same time, I would say there is evidence. So I would say that your faith can include that, you know?
But if faith is believing in something without evidence,
okay.
Like, for example, from my perspective, I don't have evidence for a God, but I can probably convince myself that one exists if I use faith to get there. Like, right? If I just go out on faith, I can believe it without any evidence, right?
Do you have to go soon or something?
No, I'm just, I don't know, I picked that up. Like I said, my definition is faith is belief without evidence. So if I had evidence for the God, if he came to me tonight in my closet, and there was no doubt in my mind that it was him, I would no longer need faith. But it sounds like you're saying, even after that event, and if I had evidence, I would still need faith after the fact to maintain the belief in him?
What I'm saying is that, say he came to you tonight, and you were like, okay, I know there's a God, you know? And then later in life, you're praying about something and you get an answer. But it wasn't, again, just him appearing to you and saying that answer. It could have been in that you read something in the Bible that somehow fits the exact situation that you've been praying about, you know? I'd say you have to have faith to realize, like, that was him speaking to me again, you know?
Okay. I think so. So, like, faith then for you might be
we're trying to define something that like definition is kind of
but it was not like you were saying that in a situation that faith is something that you would use to get past the last remaining distance to concluding that something was real, maybe? Like, maybe. I'm nearly certain that the God exists, but if I use faith, I can get the rest of the way.
I guess you could try to do it like that, but if you put it into that light, it sounds worse, you know? I would say that it is taking a situation where you see it and you have to believe it, you know? It'd be like, I saw Usain Bolt just do that, but I didn't believe it, you know? Or, that's probably a bad definition.
example. But yeah, if I saw Usain Bolt, break a world record, I would not need faith because I have evidence, right? I can look at a replay, I can talk to the officials that were there, I might have been there to actually witness it myself.
Okay.
I would have evidence.
That's a bad example.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is
let me ask you this, more generally.
There needs to be elements of faith in your belief. There will always be elements of faith in your belief.
You have to have it?
Because God wants you to trust Him, It'd be like, I'm going to get you a drink. Trust that I'll be back and give it to you. Like, let me have some money, trust that I'll be back, And you have to have faith that I'm coming back.
You're equating trust with faith, it sounds like.
Okay.
Are they synonymous?
They're synonymous. I don't know if the two words would be synonymous, but I think that trust is included in faith sometimes. Like, if you trust in God, you'll have faith that He will do what His character says He'll do and what He says He'll do.
I'm sort of in the position that trust and faith are completely different.
Completely different?
Like in that situation of hanging from the cliff.
Okay.
I think I was getting to it. If I drop the water bottle and I hear the echo, I can trust my senses to know that if I drop, I'm going to be okay.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that I'm using faith for that because I actually have evidence. I've seen something or I've heard something. I felt something. Maybe seeing and hearing is maybe a little more reliable than a feeling.
Well, you heard a voice down there, so I don't know why you would drop the water bottle.
Well, my echo is what I'm saying.
I know. I'm saying that ledge is there, but there's a person on it who's saying drop down, and so there would be no need to drop the water bottle. But you could if you wanted to.
Okay, I got you. So when you're dangling from the precipice, you could opt to listen to the voice that you think is there and just use faith and think that. And the person down there is God, right? It's not one of your other climbers. Okay.
No, it's like, yeah.
I just want to be clear. Make sure our analogy is good here. Okay, so you can drop and listen to God and drop down there. Use faith that He's there.
Okay.
Because you think you hear God telling you it's okay, right?
Okay.
You can't see Him.
Yeah, you can't see Him. You can't see the mist, and you don't know if you're gonna miss the ledge or something. Right. But He says, drop. Like, trust me. This is where I think trust and faith are integral together. He says, trust in me and trust in that you're going to be safe because I said it. And so you have to have faith in that too.
Mm-hmm. Do you use faith, which my definition was believing in something without evidence?
Okay.
And I don't know if you're quite on board with that definition or not, and that's fine. I don't want to pigeonhole into a definition.
Yeah.
Do you use faith on a day-to-day basis? Do you use it for anything else besides the God belief?
So I use faith in something other than the God belief. Can you give me an example of something that you would say?
I don't use faith in my life, so I would probably be a poor person to give you an example.
That's funny. I would say
do you readily accept things without evidence?
Do I readily accept things without evidence? Not always, but sometimes yes. Because if I trust that person, then I would accept it without evidence.
Let's say that you have a great friend. You went to preschool with him, grade school, high school, college, and he calls you up and says, I just bought a brand new dog yesterday. I want you to come over and see it today.
Okay.
Would you believe him?
Yeah,
okay.
Because I know his character,
Yeah. So I would say you trust him based on your past experience with him.
I would trust him because of his character, because I know who he is, what he stands for, and what he would and would not do.
Based on your past experience with him?
Based on my past experience and also of what other people have told me.
Okay. Yes.
And, yeah, okay.
Okay, gotcha. I wouldn't say that you would have faith in your friend, that your friend was telling the truth. I would say that you trust your friend.
Well, there's still the element that you feel you could be wrong, and so you still have to have faith, Mm-hmm. You don't know, okay. In that situation, I guess my definition of faith still includes evidence. I would say faith and trust are similar in that situation, but I guess because you say I know his character, that wouldn't be faith. That's what you're saying?
I guess what I'm saying is because you know who he is and you've had a past experience with him, if faith is believing in something without evidence, which was my definition, and I don't want to pigeonhole you in that or force you into a definition, but from my perspective, if I don't have evidence for something, I would need to use faith to believe in it. But if I had past experience or evidence, I can trust in that. I can trust that my friend was telling me the truth because I know that he doesn't live in an apartment, and I know that he's not allergic to dogs, and I've seen him interact with dogs, and him getting a dog is not all that far-fetched.
Okay.
Right? I can trust that he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Now, if he told me that he has an invisible pet dragon, and he just got it yesterday, and he wants me to come over to meet it.
Okay.
I wouldn't trust him. even though I'd have all those same experiences.
Yeah.
I don't think I could say that I would trust that he was telling the truth because it really doesn't comport to the reality that I'm familiar with.
But if he's never lied to you, how conflicting would that be? Because you would be like, he's never lied to me. He's not crazy. I don't know why he would say this if it wasn't true, you know?
There could be other motivations, right? He might be trying to get me over there for a surprise birthday party, or he may want to elicit some sympathy from me, or so that if he asks me for $20, I'll give it to him. I mean, there could be other motivations. Would you immediately just, let's say that, you had to believe his claim.
Okay.
Could you use trust, your past experience with him, to conclude that the invisible purple dragon really is at his house?
If I knew his character, and if I knew that that's what's true, like if he wouldn't lie to me, and like this is matched up with everything he said to me before, like I'd be like, okay, because if I had a friend who is like a good person, he would never lie, he doesn't like make up all these weird things and stuff, like he's been reliable, and he said, hey, I have an imaginary purple dragon, I'd be like, okay, well,
let's say invisible. Let's say
invisible.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna come over and you can introduce me to him, or you can show me to him.
You would demand evidence for it. It sounds like you might entertain the possibility that he has the invisible purple dragon at his house, but you would want to investigate it and see the evidence for the dragon.
I would say that I would believe him. Oh gosh! Oh, don't put it in your mouth.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh, poor kid.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, the kid just dropped the pacifier on the ground, and the other kid just picked it up, and they popped it, and now he's waving. Okay. Hey.
Cute little kid.
Oh, take antibiotics. See ya. Okay. So
I would say that based off of his character, I would believe what he has to say. But then I would go beyond that, and I'd want to experience that invisible dragon myself.
You would want some evidence to back up his claim.
I mean, I would believe his claim based off of his character, and then I would personally want to experience that, because who wouldn't want to experience an invisible
It'd be pretty cool.
purple dragon?
Let's say that your friend also says, thank you for coming over, and before I introduce you to the invisible purple dragon,
this is getting strange.
This is getting strange.
Oh my gosh.
I'm taking some liberties here, but bear with me here.
Okay.
In addition to meeting the purple dragon, which is invisible and you won't be able to see it or hear it or really detect it in any way, your believing in the dragon is very important, because your eternal salvation is dependent on
the dragon.
is believing in the dragon.
Okay.
Would you trust? Would there be evidence for you to trust his claim that the dragon is there, or would you have to employ faith?
I don't know. This analogy is getting really stretched.
You see where the analogy is comparing to it. Sure.
I understand what you're saying. I just feel that I've kind of said it, and then it's just like getting turned and turned and turned.
I don't mean to. I'm not trying to twist or trick you or anything at all like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to be very clear on that.
Okay.
I'm not. This is not some gotcha, set you up type of thing. But I do want you to examine how you've come to believe that the God is real. And I think this might be an effective analogy to perhaps show that.
I've come to believe that God is real because I've had a real experience with Him. And I told you that in the beginning.
Would it take a real experience with the dragon to confirm that the dragon was real?
Would it take a real experience with God to confirm that God is real? Is that what you want to ask me?
Perhaps.
Okay. I believe that He is alive, and that if you sought Him for a real experience, you could have a real experience.
Okay. So if I was willing to go over to your friend's apartment and meet the dragon, and even though I couldn't see it, just being open to it would lend credence to the existence of the dragon?
I don't know the character of the dragon. I know the character of God.
Okay.
Oh shoot.